Welcome to the Weekly Social, folks. Everything Katy, Fischer, Richmond, Texas. Today we have Cal Garcia with the Chosen Warranty. Hey, Cal, how are you?
I'm doing great.
Hey, Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, thank you for having me, Richard.
Yeah, absolutely. Tell us a little bit about yourself. Thanks for coming out today.
Yes, sir. So my name's Cal Garcia. I'm with the Chosen Home Warranty. I've been doing sales for the last few years. I got into door-to-door sales shortly after high school. I also got my real estate license shortly after high school, and then
Congratulations.
Yes, sir. And then I knocked on the VP of sales door for Achosa, and that's how I got into Achosa doing home warranties. But I've loved every second of it since.
You know, real estate's a wonderful career. I've spent a lot of time in it over the years. What attracted you to the home warranty aspect of it?
So I was doing, like I said, door-to-door sales, and I knocked on her door. Her name is Misty Hodges, and she let me know about the job, about how you're networking, building relationships with realtors. Sure. You're getting to learn from realtors. You have a lot of freedom with the job. And it sounded super intriguing, but at that point I still enjoyed what I was doing, and I felt like I was having success in what I was doing, which was selling solar panels door to door.
Oh, that's awesome.
And so I wanted to stick with that, but then in February my team kind of moved to Amarillo, Texas, full time, and I didn't really.
That's very close.
That. Yeah, very close, exactly. And I did not want to do that, so I reached back out to her because I kept her card and I just kept it in my truck for that whole almost year. And I reached back out. I let her know I'm looking for job opportunities, and then she got a little bit more in depth with me and reminded me about what exactly the job was and what was so special about Achosa. And she was just saying how we're the Uber of home warranties. It's completely different than any other home warranty. And I didn't understand that until hearing how excited she was and the other people that were interviewing me about her for Achosa were. But I actually accepted a job to do another sales job on a Friday.
Yeah.
And it was like 11 a.m. And then that day, Misty called me back. We hadn't spoken in a couple weeks. I didn't know if there was even an opportunity or opening for West Houston for Achosa yet. But she called me back and she let me know, go to the LinkedIn right now. Go apply on the LinkedIn for the opening. But I was like, I just accepted another job. I'm supposed to start Monday. And then I went and applied on LinkedIn, and then they scheduled me for an interview that next Tuesday, which is supposed to be the day after I was going to start for the other new sales job.
Sure.
But I had to call the other sales job and was like, hey, either I need to start Wednesday or I just can't do it. And then at that spot, I was like, no, you're just not going to start then. So I lost that opportunity, but luckily I got to interview with Achosa, and it all worked out.
Sometimes that stuff happens for a reason.
Yes.
So,
but it all worked out perfectly. And the reason I was so excited about it is because, like I said, I had my license for a few years already. I love real estate. I've always known I want to invest in real estate and learn as much about it as possible. And now I get to sit with professionals like you every single day. So.
Oh, that's awesome. When we were talking a little off camera before we came on, you said that you were a baseball player. Mm-hmm. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, so baseball was my first love. My dad played baseball at Sam Houston University.
Okay.
So he was a catcher. I played baseball since I was 3 years old. I grew up loving baseball, everything baseball, and then the Astros. I would consider myself a diehard fan, especially back when they were terrible. In 2014, they were kind of making the transition into not being so terrible, but I watched every single game. But
it's the 1% rule. But every day you get 1% better and better.
The Astros did that,
and they did.
Oh yeah.
Oh, they're a powerhouse.
Right. They're so exciting to watch. I love them. But for me, I just love playing baseball too. I was also a catcher. I made varsity as a sophomore in high school, like at College Park in the Woodlands, and it was the best 4 years of my life. Oh, that's not true. It was some of the most fun years of my life, and those guys are still my brothers today, my teammates that I made.
Yeah.
But baseball taught me so many of the skills and mindsets that I used in door-to-door sales and what I use today.
Commitment, discipline,
right?
Training.
Yeah, my coach, he was intense, very intense. But he just taught me about you had to be 15 minutes early to everything. If you were on time, he would chew you out. 1 year for my junior year of high school, we had pictures at 11 a.m. It was freezing cold out because the season starts in January, February.
Sure.
So around this time, but I got to the pictures at 11. I was one of the latest people there, maybe the last person there, and he chewed me out. And then my picture, I'm like frowning and like so upset because he laid into me. But I learned so many things. Another saying that he used to always say is water the bamboo, because you can water bamboo for a whole year and it won't sprout. And then once it does finally sprout, could be a year later, it could be a long time later, it explodes out of the ground, and it's
like
kind of the same thing.
wildfire.
Exactly. So it's the same thing with sales. Is like just keep watering the bamboo, doing your follow ups, doing your touch points, and eventually it'll all just kind of sprout.
Well, in our industry, a lot of people think that the grass is greener on the other side. So you see them play hopscotch or jump ship or whatever you want to call it. The grass is greener where you water it.
Oh yeah.
It is. The longer you stay somewhere and the more focused you are on what you're trying to accomplish, that's what moves the needle.
Right.
Every time you make that move, you're back to ground zero, starting all over again.
100%.
You're going backwards in life versus propelling yourself forward. And I see people make that mistake so often. Now, if you're in a bad spot, I get that. But if you've been at 10 different places, maybe it's not the places.
It's never the situation. It's always you. And when I was
Mindset.
Right. When I was doing door-to-door sales, I mean, I did pest control, and then I did work for 3 different solar companies. I worked for a solar company that was attached to the pest control company, so that went on like they called it Blitz. We went out to St. Louis, and I knocked for a week or 2.
Yeah.
And then I got connected with another office in Houston, but I finally did switch over to the last company I was with for a year and a half. But for the other ones, I mean, there's flaws with all of them. Even the one I was with for a year and a half.
There's no perfect deal out there.
Exactly. There's flaws and there's pros to all of them.
Sure.
But it's just, like you said, just sticking it out with one, and it'll eventually all be worth it to pay off.
Tell us a little about Achosa and home warranties.
Oh, yeah. So, like I was saying at the start, since I met the VP of sales at her house last summer, she was just super convicted that Achosa is the Uber of home warranty. It's something completely different, something completely new. And I didn't fully understand that when I was interviewing or when I was excited about the job. But when I started to actually make my calls of meeting realtors, going out and meeting realtors, I mean, the excitement that people show me and tell me whenever I let them know that Achosa allows you to choose your own contractor.
That's huge.
Right. I mean, choosing your own contractor is completely different than how the traditional model's been for probably over 50 years. And then we pay them retail rate. We don't negotiate rates with them. So we pay them what they feel like they deserve. And then we pay them on the spot. Our average claims process on average is from introduction to completion is 72 hours or less.
That's fast.
3.4 calls or less. So they call in to let us know they need to start a claim. They call in when the contractor does a diagnosis, and then they call in again for us to pay the contractor, and that's usually it. Whereas with some other home warranty companies, you're on the phone. You could be on the waiting for 30 minutes for them to even call you back, which is another thing about Achosa is we overstaff our call center. So another thing is on average, we answer the phone in less than 11 seconds every call.
Wow.
So you don't have to wait on hold. We're going to answer quickly.
All business is math. They figured it out.
Yes.
And everything deserves a number.
Oh, yeah. Achosa tracks everything. I mean, they track, like I said, everything I just went over.
Well,
but
that's how you improve.
right. And so they've made, in my opinion, a nearly perfect claims process that is pretty much specific to Achosa at this point.
No, that's exciting.
Yes, sir. Yeah, it's been a blast.
So, last year, what was your thoughts about the industry last year? Was that your first year doing home warranties?
Mm-hmm. Yep. So I started May 28th last year. Honestly, it feels like I've been in the industry longer just because of how many relationships I feel like I've built, and genuine relationships,
Yep.
people that I can call friends. And it's also super fun going to different brokerages and networking events when I already know a couple familiar faces is huge. Whereas when I first was starting out, it was all just cold approaching everybody, trying to get my name out there.
That's the fun part.
Yeah.
That's where you start growing. You know, if you're comfortable doing what you're doing, that means you're not growing, in my opinion. You should always put yourself in an uncomfortable situation.
Oh, yeah. And I still do. I mean, last night I was at an event and I was still going up to people I don't know. And it paid off. I mean, you meet people that you're gonna be able to truly build connections with and help in the future. So, yeah, it was awesome. But in terms of the industry last year, I thought it was great. I know that
I do too.
the transactions were down technically for real estate, but
For some.
Exactly. It's just a mindset. I mean, there's realtors that were letting it get to them. The NAR changes, the election, the down year with the interest rates, everything. But then there's also realtors that it doesn't even matter. They're going about their same business, if not prospecting more last year and then having better years than they've ever had.
I was up 20% last year over the previous year.
Mm-hmm.
And I know people that were down 40 or 50%. It's all mindset.
It is.
So, no, 2025, oh gosh. I mean, there's already a lot of great positive stuff happening. I walked 2 properties that are fixing to come up as listings yesterday. I picked up 2 buyers over the holidays. So, typically the first 2 weeks of the year, it's what I call the holiday hangover. I'm just working on all the projects that I couldn't get to or finished last year. And I'm already incorporating doing business this year in that time frame when it's usually my downtime.
Yeah, that's awesome. Great start.
Yeah, great start. It's coming.
And yeah, something interesting to me is like, even when I was doing other sales, just you always kind of think like, oh, it's Christmas, the holidays, December's not going to be. It's going to be
business never stops.
It doesn't stop, and it didn't stop. I mean, even when I was doing,
there was an uptick in my opinion.
Right, it was. People were urgent. I mean, December was my second best month since joining with Achosa.
That's awesome. Congratulations.
It was a good month. I had, I think, almost 20 new like real estate agents use Achosa for the first time in December, on top of the other existing agents. But it didn't matter that there was holidays. People were just as urgently buying homes as ever.
Yeah, speaking of cold calling, I think that's how we bumped into one another, if I remember right.
Yeah. Yes, sir.
Would you like to share that story with the audience out there?
Yeah, I mean, it was during the time of the board of directors things were going on.
When I was running for the Harbor Board of Directors?
Yes. So I would always see you at all those events. Also, I think my VP of sales, I knocked on her door. She, I think, was friends with you on Facebook, and she said, hey, this is a broker I'm friends with. You should try and reach out to him. And so I had called you when you were at the Tom Ferry event or going to the Tom Ferry event in Dallas. Or right before that.
Yeah, that was Dallas. Yeah.
And you were busy. I mean, just like you are now, you're always busy. Jake always says if it's not on your calendar, you're not going to be able to do it.
It doesn't exist. That's correct.
It doesn't exist. So I had called you a couple times before we finally got anything scheduled. You invited me to your monthly social.
Okay.
So then I just went to that. I met you and Jake there, and you were super openly willing to meet with me. One, obviously, to learn a little bit more about Achosa, but I think you've used Achosa before.
I have. I've done a handful of stuff with you guys over the years.
Yes, sir. And so it was mainly just you were really open to helping me out as a young, new guy in the industry, just giving me advice where it was needed, let me ask you questions, pick your brain.
Sure.
It was great. I mean, now I consider Jake actually a good friend of mine. It's really awesome whenever
He's a really good man. He is. Good guy.
Yeah, he is, man. But it's always awesome meeting younger people in the industry too, and I feel like me and him are now friends more than just partners in work.
Well, you guys are tomorrow's superstars.
Yeah.
You know, you got to start somewhere. You played sports. I mean, nobody starts out as the starter. They're typically on the bench, getting ready and training. Then all of a sudden tomorrow, hey, you're in.
Yeah.
And it's off to the races. So
no, that's a great way to say it, especially for Jake. I mean, I know it's slow when you're first starting off in real estate. But he's keeping his head up, and he's doing what he needs to be doing every single day. And yeah, he's gonna be good.
No, you know, it's what I call a push-pull technique when you start in real estate. When you first start, you're pushing, and it's hard to see the results because it's a huge stone that you're trying to basically push a boulder uphill, in my opinion.
Yeah.
And most people quit before they get to the top of the hill and start sailing down.
Yep.
But if you keep pushing, all of a sudden one day, and I can't tell you exactly when it is, but I can tell you it will happen. You're going to turn a corner, and then all of a sudden you're going to start pulling in people naturally because of all the pushing that you did.
Oh, yeah.
So it works.
Whenever we were doing door-to-door sales, we call it like the learning curve. Everyone had to go through it. I mean, my first month when I did pest control, I did, like, this is really bad, but I did 5 sales for the whole month, which is not good. But like you said, there's people that were just quitting after that first month. Like half the people that went out there, because I was in Wisconsin. I was in Madison, Wisconsin for the summer.
Well, nobody's, when they hear no, they're not used to hearing that. No. And they take it personally as an objection. And it's not personal, it's business.
It's never personal, no. And people just couldn't handle it. They couldn't handle that they weren't producing, so they were just quitting. Same with solar or any sort of sales. People, you have to get through that hard part to actually make it at all. Because that's when you learn what you're supposed to be doing.
Embrace the no's because that puts you that much closer to that first yes.
Yep.
And then once you get the first yes out of the way, the next one comes faster than fast. It turns into a snowball effect, and it starts compounding.
I remember my first day ever knocking doors at all. One of my buddies was just like, if you had to get 100 no's to get your first yes, you'd be excited about every single no. So I was just like super, like almost running. I think I might have been running to each door because I was actually excited about it. I was literally running between doors, and I finally got my first sale the first day I did it. But it's just that mindset, I think, is what allowed me to do that type of sales for so long, because I just knew it wasn't personal, and you have to get the no's to find a yes.
Right. Hey, if it's not for you, is there anybody else that may need what we're selling?
Right.
What's the worst they're going to tell you? No.
Yeah.
I still knock on doors today.
I know. Yeah, Jake told me about that.
I've taken him out with me a few times. So, I mean, it's part of what we do. And when you're in front of somebody and they see that you're a real person, I think it helps. Right. I truly do.
100%. Even with like our story I just told about meeting you, when you gave me the opportunity to come to the real estate social and actually meet you in person, that's when the relationship began. It didn't begin from those 5-minute, 15-minute even phone calls. It's getting in front of somebody and actually showing them who you really are. And that's actually something about social media that I want to get better at, is not just being a face and a company. It shows that I want to actually show more of like personality wise and like let people know what I'm actually like or about, kind of, if that makes sense.
Give them a peek behind the camera is what I call that.
Yes, a peek behind the camera. That's a perfect way to look at it.
Like when you see me working out and it's 4:30 in the morning. My hair's off to the side, but I'm focused on, staying motivated and keeping the weight off. I get, truthfully, a lot of times I'll get 1,000, 1,500 views off of that versus me in front of a house talking about a new listing that I took. So, I mean, yes, they want to see some of the listings so they know I practice real estate, but what they want to see more than anything is behind the scenes. So
100%. Especially in a business like this, when it's just so important about relationships and staying top of mind.
It is. I mean, who you choose in everything in what we do is very important. It's because if you make a mistake in our industry, it's thousands of dollars. It is. Yeah. And that's in almost every aspect of it.
Right.
So, I mean, from the realtor to the appraisal, the inspector, the home warrant, I mean, pick something. There's nothing cheap about what we do in residential real estate.
Not at all. Plus, it's almost sometimes lifelong decisions.
It
when
is.
You buy a home or sell a home.
It's you have to have the best person represent you in every aspect of this industry. So, well, talking about behind the scenes, what do you like to do for fun? Which one of your favorite spots to go to around here?
So I'm from the Woodlands, but I just recently moved.
We won't hold that against you. This is Katy Fischer, Richmond.
Okay.
No, I'm teasing.
But I moved to the Heights area, and I was actually considering moving to Katy just because I'm always here and I do love it. I mean, it reminds me a lot of the Woodlands, just with less traffic. It's very family oriented. It seems like a great place to live, but I live in the Heights. And
great area. I used to live in the Heights as well.
Yeah, it's a completely different world than the Woodlands, but
that's a young man's area.
Right. And it's been a blast, and I'm super central to Katy, Cypress, Sugarland, the Galleria, River Oaks, everywhere that I usually am.
Well, you can be anywhere in 20, 30 minutes for the most part.
Yeah. So
predicated upon traffic.
Yeah, it's been a blast.
Good.
But usually I'm working out in the mornings too, not at 4 a.m., but around 6 a.m. is when I try to go to the gym every
You're younger than me. You ought to be up earlier than me, showing me how it's done.
I don't know about that. I need sleep. I cannot do 4 a.m. But I go to the gym. I don't really. There's a place called the Taco Stand in the Heights. The burger. Oh,
that
joint
sounds
taco
healthy.
Stand. It's not healthy, but that's kind of
that means it tastes great.
It tastes great, and it's for like Houston foods and prices. It's pretty inexpensive too.
Yeah.
I mean, I get a big burrito and I get 2 tacos and it's still like $16, $15.
That's a deal.
Yeah, it's a great deal.
Fast food at McDonald's, you'll pay that for a burger, fries, and a Coke today.
Right. But I mean, that's why I like going to Taco Stand more, is because it really is like more authentic Mexican food.
Yeah.
But that's probably one of my favorite restaurants to go to in that area. Other than that, I just go to local gyms.
Yeah.
My girlfriend and I, she loves live music. So whenever there's a chance for concerts or just live music at bars or whatever, that's
Washington Avenue. All kinds of cool places over there.
Mm-hmm. But other than that, I'm still trying to get my bearings down, learn more about it, the areas that I'm in.
Houston's huge. People have no idea how big Houston really is.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it starts at Conroe and it goes down to Galveston.
I know it.
It starts at Brookshire and it goes out to Baytown.
Yeah.
It's solid businesses and rooftops the whole way going up and
really
down
is.
I-10 or 45.
Yeah, it really is.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
I mean, I had a lender reach out to me the other day. I have a buyer in Houston. Can you help? And I responded back, what part of Houston? And she sent back 3 question marks. And I'm like, Houston's almost 600 square miles. I mean, you know, 'cause, hey, if they're over there in Pasadena or something, I mean, yes, it's Pasadena, but people still consider it Houston.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So the same thing with Katy. I mean, you can't tell you left Houston going into Katy.
No. Yeah, not at all.
Not at all. I mean, Katy's over 1 million people.
Yeah.
Now, not in the city of Katy. That's probably around 50,000. But once you incorporate the ETJs, the extraterritorial jurisdictions, Katy starts at 529 with Ellison and all that over there.
Jeez.
And it goes south to 1093 with Cinco Ranch and Cross Creek and all that. And then it starts at Barker Cypress, and it doesn't end until you get to Brookshire at Willow Creek Farms.
Yeah. Man. You've grown up here in Katy, right?
No, I'm from Chicago.
Oh,
originally.
you are?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Got here as quick as I could.
Dang, I thought you were from here.
No, I've been practicing real estate down here since 2009, though.
Are you fans of like the Chicago sports teams, or are you Houston?
Oh yeah, I was a Michael Jordan fan. I remember watching him
yeah.
play. I mean, I'm that old.
Yeah. My grandpa's from Chicago. He's diehard Bears, Cubs.
Oh yeah. I remember when Wrigley Field, there was no lights.
Wow.
And the story behind it, people don't know what it was. They used to do double headers during the day. There was no night games there because there's no lights. Because the lights that they had slated for the stadium, they donated to the guys in World War II.
Wow.
So all those lights that they were going to use for the stadium, they donated and they shipped them overseas to help the American troops in World War II. So it was. There's night games now, but forever the city didn't want night games because of honoring the veterans that they did that for.
Jeez, that's awesome. I'm always gonna regret when I was living in Wisconsin for that summer. I wanted to go to a Wrigley game so bad, but my roommate at the time was a diehard Yankees fan. He's from Nevada. I don't know why he was a Yankees fan, but the Yankees were coming in and playing the White Sox at Guaranteed Rate Field, and so we had to go to that game. And then somehow we never.
That
made
was
it to
Comiskey Park when I was a young man.
Yeah, but
You probably never even heard of Comiskey Park.
Never heard of that. No. But so we went to the White Sox game instead of a Wrigley game, and I'm always gonna regret that forever because I want to go to Wrigley so bad. I mean,
Well, in Chicago, you're one or the other. Very rarely they root for both. So they're either a Cubs fan or a White Sox fan.
right? And the Cubs, I mean, it's such an iconic, historic franchise. But the left field, it's like a big party out there too.
Oh yeah.
So I've always wanted to go.
It's no, that's a very sports orientated town.
It really
I mean,
is.
Soldier Field with the Bears. You know, it's amazing. And down here we have domes. Up north, they're out on the frozen tundra.
I know, even the White Sox were, yeah.
I mean, you'll see the fans out there, face painters, body painters. It's 10 degrees outside. They have their shirts off. It says "Go Bears." I mean, you're looking at them. These guys are Neanderthals. I mean, so I'll never forget the first football game I went to down here was an Oilers game. That's back when we had the Oilers. We scored a touchdown, and I jumped up like we're at a Bears game, and I had my beer in my hand, and it spilled on the people in front of me, and you could have dropped a pin. Everybody looked at me like, what's wrong with this guy? And I'm thinking to myself, I'm from Chicago. That's what we do. You know what I mean? I'm not at a ballet. You know what I mean? I'm at a football game.
Yeah.
But I did learn from that. So the next touchdown, I didn't jump up and spill beer all over the place.
In Houston, they're going to start a fight doing something like that.
No clue.
Yeah.
So, well, tell us a little bit more about yourself.
I guess. I mean, I'm religious. 2025, I have a lot of new goals and just goals with getting closer with God, for one, but also
Oh, there you go.
growing at shows as much as possible, fitness goals. I need to get back into reading, or at least gaining more knowledge in any way, whether it's reading books or watching YouTube videos or something. I've been kind of getting a little bit too comfortable. I feel like not in my business aspect, but in other aspects of my personal life, where I feel like I need to, like we actually talked about, just making myself more uncomfortable and growing. But it's time to lock back in on that for sure.
I have 3 books going at all times.
What are they right now?
And everybody asks me, how do you have 3 going at all times? Well, one's for personal growth, one's for company growth, and one's for spiritual growth. So the personal growth that I'm reading right now is exactly what to say. And then for company growth, I'm reading Ninja Selling. And then spiritually, I try to read scripture of the Bible daily.
Yes, sir. I've heard Ninja Selling is a really good book.
I've read it multiple times over the years. At our brokerage, we do a book club every Wednesday. So that's the book that we're doing right now with the company.
Okay. Yeah. So
if you want to jump in on it, we do a Zoom meeting live from 8 to 8:30 on Wednesdays, and that is open to anybody in our industry, so they can kind of get a feel for our brokerage.
I would love to. So Ninja Selling, is it about selling to somebody without them knowing exactly it's selling, or is it not about that at all?
It teaches you more how to attract and engage. You know, you're not really selling. You're basically sharing knowledge and consulting with them.
Gotcha.
So, and that's why they call it Ninja Selling.
Mm-hmm. Something that I've tried doing, I think there's a realtor who told me about this book, and also he somehow found my home address when I just moved into my apartment like a month later. He sent me a handwritten note for my birthday, which I was also like, how did you know it was my birthday? Like, because he sent the letter, I got it on my birthday.
Oh, wow.
But I think he said that he got that sort of ideas from Ninja Selling. So I tried also doing that. I used Forewarn to find the addresses of clients of mine.
Yeah.
And I sent them notes and things like that. But
A handwritten note's very powerful.
oh yeah,
People
really
remember
is.
that.
Yep. And that's something that I'm also going to work on in 2025, doing more of those, just more intimate ways of growing and building relationships.
Well, marketing's the fuel to your business.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you could have all the vast knowledge in the world, but if nobody knows about it, it's like a race car sitting in a garage.
Right.
It's the same thing.
Oh yeah.
So, and that's a selfish decision. You want to go out and share that knowledge so that you can make the world a better place tomorrow is how I look at it.
Mm-hmm.
So, do some videos, push it out there.
Oh yeah, need to.
So, well, if they have questions about home warranties, and it's not just for using realtors. If you own a home, you can purchase a home warranty. Most consumers don't know that.
Right.
So if somebody out there in our audience that's watching, if they have any questions, what's the best way for them to get a hold of you?
Yep. So my phone number is 832-600-2633. And then my email address is CALG at Achosa, ACHOSAHW.com. But yeah, I'm more than happy to hop on a phone call, email, text, whatever, if you have any questions at all. But I mean, especially an Achosa home warranty is so special because if you have anything go out in your home, you would just handle it the exact same way you would usually handle getting something fixed or repaired, but you can use your husband's credit card, aka Achosa, to pay for it. Because we pay the contractor. You pick the contractor, and Achosa will pay them. So
yeah, well,
it's the best of both worlds. It's like for my apartment, my chain has been broken for my light in my bedroom since I moved in.
Yeah.
I called the apartment complex, like, hey, can you send somebody out here to fix it? They sent out their technicians like a week later, and he finally got out there. He was taking a look at it, and he was like, honestly, man, I have no idea how to fix this. That's what he said.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah, I mean, so I mean, I'm in a horrible position because, I mean, I don't want to call my own contractor and have to pay him because if I live in an apartment, that's supposed to do it. But if I could...
You're paying for that as part of your rent.
Exactly.
Right.
But if I could choose my own contractor and then the apartment complex would just pay him the retail rate over the phone, that would be a perfect situation that I wish I had availability
solve your problem.
Right.
Well, all right. Well, hey, I want to thank everybody for tuning in. Greatly appreciate all the help, all the support. Again, thank you for all the donations for the animal shelter and for Boys and Girls Country. We delivered all that on Monday. They were so thankful. We're going to be marching into our next fundraiser, which is going to be our annual blood drive. We'll be announcing that within the next week or two. And whether you support our blood drive or another one, please support it because Houston does run out of blood every day, and it's not important to you until you need it. So please be proactive. If you can donate blood, please just take a moment. And it's not a lot of time, and you're going to save somebody's life.
Wow.
Any final closing thoughts, Cal?
It was an honor being on here. If there's anybody watching this that doesn't know me, I would love to get to know you and have a conversation just like this, kind of. Just learn more about you and your business. And even if we never work together, if you're in the industry at all, I mean, I would love to get to know you.
Awesome. And if you want to be a guest, please reach out. We'll see you guys next week. Thanks.